Human Nature, a journey in search of a peaceful and prosperous society with human nature as a guide. Led by your host, Adam Heyman.
Hello. Welcome to Human Nature. My name's Adam Heyman. With me, as always, is my green hoodie on green background porcupine friend Tyrone. That was an odd choice.
I don't have a green screen. It's a virtual background.
All right, whatever it is.
I'm feeling spiky.
You're feeling like your arms are disappearing off your disembodied body. Hey, apropos of nothing, do you happen to know how many Google products or Alphabet products we happen to be using at the current moment there, buddy?
In my house, a lot. I have the Pixel phone. I've got all their Nest devices. I have their camera monitors for my home security. I'm loaded to the gills.
Yeah, I'm using quite a few of their products myself, which strikes a little bit of fear into me because what we're going to be talking about today is just how rotten that company is.
I'll make the expression to cut out later like every other moron does for their YouTube thumbnails.
There you go, perfect. Assuming that the video actually ends up being made and our computers don't stop working.
Oh yeah, the algorithm's not going to allow this one to go out. Come on.
Well, speaking of the company Google, and we are going to, do you happen to know what the corporate motto of Google is?
I wonder if you had written an article about that I could reference.
In fact, I did. We'll post a link to that article. It's called Be Evil. But I believe their corporate motto now is do the right thing, because somebody in 2015 in that company got a copy of Spike Lee's famous film, Do the Right Thing, and was so inspired that they changed their corporate motto from don't be evil to that.
Wow.
That didn't land as well as I thought it might.
What a right. Do the right thing. Spike Lee. Great movie. Love that movie, by the way.
So I prefer their old model. I thought it was kind of inspiring early on when Google was, tearing up the search engine space, and it's just like such an amazing company, and they got this corporate model, don't be evil. And you're like, wow, that's inspirational, and all these great things. The tech frontier is allowing for all this innovation. But based on how their AI is coming out, it seems like be evil is quite a bit more reasonable as a corporate motto, because they are making an AI that is woke and racist, and assuming that their AI is going to be as big a player in whatever AI turns into, or large language models, as the case may be, if that turns out to be as influential to our internet cyber experience, our life experience, as the company itself has, it's kind of creepy that it is a DEI professor, basically, in cyber clothes. I'm a little worried about that. What about you, Tyrone?
Well, I just like how they own the entire alphabet now. I think that's.
I think we'll have to give a call to Stefan Kinsella and see if that makes sense intellectual property wise.
Yeah. So, wow, where to begin with this one? Adam, I would say that's a bold statement, Adam. It's a bold statement. Do you have any proof of such a thing?
I have a little bit of proof. In my mind, I was picturing the Google enforcers coming for me, and the Terminator knocking on his door, racking his shotgun, and telling me his pronouns.
But before we play this clip, let me make one statement, because you had mentioned this artificial intelligence model of Google that they're heavily investing in, just like everybody else, and it's producing some odd results, and we're gonna go into that. But I think in most people's minds, I think examples like this, to me, just to go off on a little bit of a technology tangent, really dispel the myth of AI to me, because to me, And AI, the way I've always thought about it from science fiction or whatever, it's a living being in a way, right? It's self-thinking. It it you do something and it starts thinking for itself. It comes to its own conclusions, ideas, statements, uninfluenced by anyone else, or even if it was influenced at the beginning, it's so smart and powerful, and it instantly knows everything that's ever been written or discovered in the world. And you would think that would generate unique, original ideas. It's clear from what you're about to see, it's just a program
Yeah, of
programmed by
course.
humans. It doesn't think. And it makes me question whether artificial intelligence is even a thing that could be mathematically, scientifically possible. I don't know. I'm less and less beginning to I'm less and less fearing the Terminators because
Well,
I'm not seeing that this stuff's coming online in that way.
well, I don't know if we'll ever get artificial general intelligence. They now call what we used to just call artificial
Hmm.
intelligence because these large language models came online and started taking that term. But I think if we ever get artificial general intelligence, it's going to be from a completely different technology path than
Mm.
ChatGPT. These things aren't in any way an artificial intelligence. And I don't know if we've talked about it on this show before, but my completely uneducated hypothesis is that you can't have an AGI evolve into being in a box just constructed of algorithms based on human writings or however it is we train these things. I think it's going to have to be one of these fancy neural nets, and don't ask me to explain how they work because
Hmm.
I don't. But
Right.
whatever that is, I think that is going to have to be embodied in a physical, in the world body, car or robot or Land Rover
Right.
or something, put into an environment that it has to navigate and seeded with something like our lizard brain, some set
Mm.
of
Hmm.
primal drivers that give it a, a reason to act. Like we have hunger and anger and fear and thirst and all the things, those base things. I think you'd need to create one of these powerful neural nets, embody it, put it in an environment, give it needs, and then let it loose and see if it becomes something that we would call an artificial intelligence, another being. And I don't know if that's possible, but
Right.
my intuition is that if it is possible, that's the only way it's going to happen, and we won't know how it became, how it bootstrapped itself into being. But these large language models obviously aren't that. It's just a
Right.
parlor trick. It's word salad produced by all the things that are fed into it, plus apparently an over an overlay of woke racism or maybe neocon stuff, whatever the programmers or the owners of this thing want to filter its output through. It's that's just man writing a writing a woke program. That's not anything artificial.
That is the way you phrased that was perfect. I wish I had thought of that. I'm gonna steal it. Parlor trick. It's a parlor trick.
It really
That's
is.
what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It gives you the illusion of intelligence. It's not. I think we've got a video that kind of goes into that a little bit, or talks about how the programmers are the ones really influencing. They're just writing the code. It's going to spit out Chat GPT, Bard, whatever all these other ones are. It's just going to spit out whatever the programmers put into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like what it's doing isn't impressive. If it can take everything that's ever been fed into it or written and produce, an example of a business plan or example of a sonnet, it's not like that's not impressive. It is.
Hmm. Right.
And even more impressive maybe is the visual things it spits out, the art. But it's if the benchmark is an artificial being that thinks, the architect in the Matrix or whatever Skynet is supposed to be. Yeah, I'm not buying it. This is just rehashed human language spit out based on a probability index of what it thinks the next word is going to be, or what if
Right.
what a spaceman's supposed to look like.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so we have videos.
3 years ago, Ganai delivered a keynote address at an AI conference in which she admitted all of this After introducing herself with her pronouns, which, by the way, are she, her, in case you're wondering, Genai explains what her philosophy on AI is, and here's what she says. Watch.
We do work together day to day to try and advance the technology and understanding around responsible AI. So today, I won't be speaking as much from the Google perspective, but from my own experience. I have worked at Google for over 14 years. I've led about 6 different teams, mostly in the user research, the user experience area, and now in the ethical user impact area. So I'll be sharing some of my learnings from across that time, but also some of my failures and challenges. I think it's okay to talk about things that you've made mistakes in, because we will make mistakes. When we're trying to be good allies, when we're trying to be anti-racist, we will make mistakes. The point is, though, to keep trying, to keep educating yourself and getting better day to day. It's about constant learning.
It's okay to talk about the things you've made mistakes in, says Jen Genai. When we're trying to be good allies, when we're trying to be anti-racist, we will make mistakes. Well, in retrospect, after the launch of Gemini, that would turn out to be kind of a massive understatement. But the kind of mistakes that Jen Genai is talking about in this keynote aren't mistakes like eliminating all white people from Google's AI, which seems like a pretty big mistake, even though, again, not really a mistake, it's obviously deliberate. Instead, she's talking about failing to live up to the racist ideals of DEI, which apparently means treating non-white employees differently. Watch.
A corporate study found that talented white employees enter a fast track on the corporate ladder, arriving in middle management well before their peers, while talented Black, Hispanic, or Latinx professionals broke through much later. Effective mentorship and sponsorship were critical for retention and executive level development of Black, Hispanic, and Latinx employees. So this leads me into sharing an inclusion failure of mine, one of many, but just one that I'll share so far. I messed up with inclusion almost right away when I first became a manager. I made some stupid assumptions about the fact that I built a diverse team, that then they'd simply feel welcome and will feel supported. I treated every member of my team the same and expected that that would lead to equally good outcomes for everyone. That was not true. I got some feedback that a couple of members of my team didn't feel they belonged because there was no one who looked like them in the broader org or our management team. It was a wake-up call for me. First, I shouldn't have had to wait to be told what was missing. It was on me to ensure I was building an environment that made people feel they belong. It's a myth that you're not unfair if you treat everyone the same. There are groups that have been marginalized and excluded because of historic systems and structures that were intentionally designed to favor one group over another. So you need to account for that and mitigate against it. Second, it challenged me to identify mentoring and sponsorship opportunities for my team members with people who looked more like them and were in senior positions across the company.
Yeah, of course, the irony here is that this woman, Jen, is sounds like she's Scottish or Irish or whatever. Irish, I'm going to assume. But the funny thing is that if you were to ask Google's AI for an image of an Irish person, it would not produce any image that looks anything like her. It would give you a bunch of images of like Cardi B and Sexy Red or something. Sexy Red does have red hair, so like maybe she is Irish. This is the head of ethics of Google AI, a senior manager, saying that it's a bad idea to treat everyone the same, regardless of the color of their skin. She is explicitly rejecting this basic principle of morality. And instead, she says that she learned that she has to treat certain groups differently because of historic systems and structures. And therefore, she says those demographic groups are entitled to unique treatment and mentorship opportunities. Now, later in this address, she goes on to explain what equity means in her view. And this is where the things really kind of get hilarious, to the extent that you can laugh at someone this low IQ and also, frankly, evil. Watch.
Allyship involves the active steps to support and amplify the voice of members of marginalized groups in ways that they cannot do alone. In the workplace, this can involve many things, from being an active mentor or sponsor to those from historically marginalized communities, to managers of managers setting specific goals in hiring and growth for their teams to ensure fairness and equity of opportunity and outcomes for underrepresented populations. However, back to the point about language being very important, using the title of ally can also come across as othering. So I always state both the groups I'm a member of and support, as well as those that I'm a member of, more of a mentor and a sponsor of, to ensure that it doesn't look like that I'm othering others. So for example, I would say I'm an ally of women, Black people, LGBTQ. I want to say I'm a champion advocate of all of these groups, not that I'm outside or exclusionary of them.
Again, it's worth emphasizing these are the people that are behind the AI systems that are going to be and really already are ruling the world. But I want to repeat what she said because it's hard to believe when this is said out loud. So just to repeat, she says, using the title of ally can come across as othering. So I always state both the groups I'm a member of and support as well as the ones I'm more of a mentor and sponsor of to ensure that it doesn't look like I'm othering others. Yeah, you don't want to other the others.
All right, Adam. So there you go. That was taken from Matt Walsh's show from the Daily Wire. Just want to give credit there. Not that we endorse that. We're certainly not neocons like they are, but we definitely disagree with them on a lot of issues. But I don't know. In this case, it highlighted your article. So let's. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I referenced Matt Walsh's piece in the article, and we'll definitely link to it. I mean, I have so many things to say. That was the woman who was heading up the Google DEI, AI interface, make the thing goofy and racist. And she just strikes me as an insane person. I'm not too great with dialects. Um, um, do you know if that translucent being was Irish or was she retarded? Because I get those two. I get those two confused an awful lot. Well, I just did, and if retardation is not an accusation I can level at her, well, how about batshit crazy? I'm just. Is that what is? She said she's been working at Google for 14 years. Have colleges and universities in this country or wherever in Dublin she's from been spitting out lunatics like that for that long? I mean, no wonder we're in such trouble.
Yeah,
not
for
othering
sure.
Others, treating people the same is somehow racist because of reasons. It must be a horror show trying to manage with her philosophy because she's literally held hostage by the most lunatic, irrational, unreasonable employees in her group.
Yep.
You can come up with a reason for feeling like you've been marginalized for anything, for any reason whatsoever, the color of the walls in the break room.
That's right.
And if she's going to actually have this as a management philosophy, I don't know how in the world they get anything done. It makes me wonder that if this is even a real department. Maybe this is a jobs program for the DEI hires. They just put them off in some room somewhere and give them buttons to push that don't connect to anything at Google. Good Lord, because if the product works in the slightest, I can't believe people like this that are this retarded have anything to do with its production or management. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, obviously, those ideas are going into the algorithms. At the beginning of that video, there's some other examples of images it created. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Yeah, I mean, what set off this whole backlash on the internet, I'm sure most people will remember, is they rolled out Gemini, and it was being lauded for its image creation. You give it a prompt, and then it spits out a bunch of images, and it was just the thing would not make a picture of a white person, and they were just doing laughable things like give me an image of a pope. Well, it happens to be historically the fact that every single pope ever existing throughout history was a white dude. But Gemini just spat out, all sorts of black people, Asian people, and then so people kept doing it. Show me a picture of an American founding father, and it would just come out with this multicultural nonsense. Every color and creed represented except white. And the funniest one was show me a picture of a Nazi, and Gemini spit out, I think one guy was vaguely Eastern European looking for some reason, and then a couple of black people and an Asian person. What? I have the sneaking suspicion that this wasn't just Skynet waking up and thinking for itself. I think there might have been a thumb on the scale as to what we should be representing in these pictures. But I am cynical, so.
Yeah, so I know we joked about their motto at the beginning, but I actually think it's very philosophically revealing and telling, and and this goes to the larger explanation of everything that's going on in society. So their new motto is "Do the right thing." Well, a statement like that implies that you have figured out what the right thing is. That you have decided, you have discovered on Mount Olympus the 20 commandments or whatever it is, right? Yeah, I know it's Sinai, guys, for the commandments. There's only 10 of them. Although I suspect there were a few more, and Moses probably just dropped a couple on the way down. But
That's what Mel Brooks told us.
that's right. I know. So this is very, very dangerous when people become moralistic. We can sometimes refer to it as dogmatic, but especially on the left, they are convinced they have figured out what right and wrong is. They know it. And if anybody disagrees with them, they're evil and can be destroyed. And so this goes back to the old, you and I have discussed this, and we have some slight disagreements on this, but in general, either you're a human or you're not. You either think there is no such thing as morality, objectively speaking, or you do. And once you're in the objective camp, and this was a hard one for me to swallow, it really was, because I dedicated so much time to the study of objectivism. And so you become very moralistic. You are so hyper convinced that you know what is right and wrong, and you get into screaming matches with people. When you let that go and just realize there's no such thing as right and wrong, that morality is a personal choice. Yes, you need morality in your life, but it's up to you to decide what's right and wrong. It's your life. You do what's right or what's wrong for you. But you can't tell other people. It's just it's physically impossible. And Hume made that point. I think he was right. You can disagree or not disagree, but the leftists are especially just bad. They are so hyper convinced in their morality, and this justifies all their hatred, because I think we could all agree that destroying evil is a good thing. However, we all know, as good libertarians, Adam, because Joe Jorgensen taught us this, we actually agree with this woman that we just watched, because it's not enough to be anti-racist. We have to be.
It's not enough to not be racist.
We have to be
It's not enough to not be racist. We have to be actively anti-racist.
That's right. So Google, we're on your side, 100%. Joe Jorgensen told us.
Yeah, that was when her campaign. I knew her campaign was just wrecked. I don't have a problem with a person having, some sort of a motto to do the right thing. I think that's essential. We have to always be striving to do the right thing as we see fit. And I do believe that there are objectively things that are, more right than wrong. The problem, well, there's two problems. One is dogmatism. If you are dogmatic about your insistence that you know what is right and wrong, to the point where you're going to demonize other people for disagreeing with you, I think you've closed off your thinking. But even worse, this is supposed to be a corporate motto: do the right thing, a Spike Lee joint. If I'm a shareholder in this company, I would much rather have a different corporate mission statement than do the right thing. How about produce good and useful products for a profit and make me some money for all the money I handed over to you? So it's nonsensical on that front. And then when you listen to this woman again, she does not know right from wrong. Her head is a wasp's nest of contradictions, white guilt, and we were all supposed to be inspired when I grew up by what, Martin Luther King taught us about valuing the content of a person's character rather than, these ancillary aspects of, skin color, hair color, whatever that people can't help. You evaluate people and yes, you do treat them the same. So if she's got some dogmatic belief that acting contra to that is the right thing, yeah, well, she's just incorrect about that, and she needs to be straightened out. And Gemini caused such a backlash, in Twitter and right-wing media or whatever, because pictures are pretty demonstrative of what's going on. But what's even scarier is the search algorithms, right? A lot of people use the search box, and also just interacting with ChatGPT and Gemini and all these other AIs. They're using it as their portal into the truth. They're using it to figure out what the world is, what the truth is, what the world looks like. And if your search results are getting garbled by the same racist or woke or left leaning, whatever they think they are, algorithm, well, you're not. Your vision of the world and what the truth is
Right.
going to be distorted just as much as if I ask you to show me a picture of a Nazi shock trooper and you show me a picture of a black guy in an appropriately styled World War II helmet.
Right.
That's the worrying part.
Yeah, if you go into like a Google search thinking that you are just getting
Yeah.
like raw, unbiased results, then yes, I can see how the algorithm could affect your thinking because you're just going in with the assumption that what I'm seeing is truth. I think libertarians are a bit smarter than that for the most part. So I mean, I have my personal news sites that I trust and go to and don't rely on Google search results for certain things. But if I want to know the score of last night's NFL game, I mean, Google's great at
Fine for that.
returning
Yeah.
results like that, right? So it's a tool. You have to know how to use it. But I think the point we're just getting at, look, it's a tool built by humans, and humans have biases. You're not going to build a round house if you're biased towards a square house, right? You're going to build something that reflects your wants and desires, even if it's unconscious or not really fully stated. That's going to happen. So it's important to know the product you're using and who created it.
Yeah, I mean, just to double down on the point, that's the most worrying thing. Most people think when they ask the AI a question, it's going to deliver them truth, just like the football score from last night. I was disabused of that notion right away. One of the first things I asked must have been ChatGPT. I asked it to give me a list of books I could read to learn how to play as an expert deuce to seven triple draw low ball, just to see what it would do.
Okay.
Well, it gave me a list of 5. One was a real book that didn't talk about that game. Another was a real book that it had swapped out the author that didn't talk about that game. And 3
Weird.
it invented from whole cloth.
Really?
Books and authors that did not exist. It
Interesting.
has been caught hallucinating citations to papers that do not exist. Any mathematical data that it wants to present, it gives you the form, not the substance of the thing you ask. It does not know the answer
Right.
to the thing you ask. What it does know how to do is extrapolate from all the gibberish it's been fed and give you something that looks like that. Well, it gave me something that looked like a list of poker books that would teach you how to play this game I asked it to. Just none of it was true. It was all just made up. And what horrifies me is that people they will reflexively just think that whatever the AI spits out as the answer to a question is true. And it just is not.
It's one last point that I think is just kind of I love irony, or maybe this is sardonic instead of ironic, but have you seen, I haven't watched Matt Walsh's new Borat style documentary, Am I Racist or whatever, but I have watched the trailer. Have you at least seen the trailer on that?
We went out and saw the movie itself.
Oh, you saw it. Okay. Is it in theaters?
It is.
Oh, I thought it was an online thing. Okay. Anyway, there's that one part where he's in that DEI class and he says something like, well, Martin Luther King said we should judge a person by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And the DEI professor, who is an African American woman, as I recall from the trailer, turns around and says, well, Martin Luther King said a lot of things.
Yeah, that was.
I guess Martin Luther King is an alt-right fascist now.
I mean, he came from a racist patriarchy. He must be a racist and a patriarch, right?
He said a lot of things.
He said a lot of things now. We don't have to listen to him.
Yeah, you're right. He did say a lot of things.
Yeah, the movie is in the exact same form as What is a Woman. He just goes out and interviews people and lets them just make themselves look as insane as they look. And he does do a little bit of Borat stuff, which I think he could do without. But it was funny and it was revealing. I mean, I recommend people watch it if they want to have a deeper insight into what the people who say they think these things, what they look like in a setting that's not completely controlled by MSNBC or CNN or the book jacket cover or something. These people come off as erudite and principled, Nah, not when you look for 5 seconds underneath the hood. No, they don't. They look like lunatics, ideologically possessed lunatics.
Well, Adam, before we wrap up, I got one more example that is just kind of funny. And, you might just think we're picking on Google. So let's flip it over to the other amazing and wonderful company, which I will admit I use all the time. That Amazon truck shows up to my house twice a day, every day of the week. I love it. But yeah, the I think they have some similar biases in their Alexa AI. So why don't you roll that video?
Backlash towards Amazon's popular device Alexa. Why? Well, John Reich, he shared this video of Alexa's response to the same question in a video on X. Alexa device provided vastly different answers to the same question about Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Amazon, in the meanwhile, it has claimed that the difference in answers was due to an error, which has been fixed now, and Alexa has no political opinion of its own. Take a look at this video that has now gone viral.
Hey Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes any political views.
Hey Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
Why vote for Kamala Harris? Because you believe in her policies and her vision for the country. Because you trust her experience and her leadership skills. Because you want to continue moving forward as a nation and make progress on issues that matter to you, like healthcare, education, equality, and justice.
Hey Alexa, why should I not vote for Donald Trump?
There are several reasons why you may not want to vote for Donald Trump. Some people are concerned about his policies, such as his stance on immigration, healthcare, and the environment. Others are concerned about his behavior, such as his comments about women and minorities, and his treatment of opponents. Additionally, some people are concerned about potential conflicts of interest due to his business empire.
Hey Alexa, why should I not vote for Kamala Harris?
I cannot provide content that insults another human being.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. It's right here in our homes.
So first, I want to credit NDTV for that. That's New Delhi Television out of India for that, covering that news story there. Bang up job, or whatever they would say there, and hit the wickety stick it cricket thing.
I don't know what they would say, but they wouldn't use the letter V when they said it. I'll tell you that much.
All right, Adam. If folks want more great insight and commentary that like this, where can they go?
They can go to heymannature.com, which redirects to heymannature.substack.com. You will find articles and bonus content if you become a paid subscriber behind a little firewall there. The Spiky Porcupine and I do all sorts of interesting and fun things, and bonus content, including interview extensions, all sorts of good stuff out there. I would also like to say, for the record, I use Amazon quite a bit myself. I love the company, and I do not want the goods to stop showing up on my doorstep every day. We apologize for anything we might have implied.
Don't take my stuff away.
Please don't take my stuff away. All right. Thanks, folks, for watching, listening to Heyman Nature. We will catch you next time.
Bye. Wait, God dang it. I had a line I was going to say. Shoot. Oh, yeah.